Hello guys, welcome to the series of Python programming. So as you must be knowing, we have almost covered all the basic concepts of Python, all the important concepts of Python, like how can we use loops in Python, for loop, while loop, we have seen conditional statements, right? We have seen all those things in very detail with the help of multiple examples. Fine. So from today, we are going to start something that is known as Python object oriented programming. So as we all know, I have told you in the introduction itself that Python is what? Python is an object oriented programming language. Fine. So if you know any object oriented language like Java, .NET, so you must be knowing all the concepts of object oriented language. So all the concepts, all the OOPS concepts that we known as object oriented programming concepts, they are valid in case of Python also. Fine. Now, for the people especially who have not used any OOPS concepts earlier, who don't know any object oriented languages like Java, .NET, etc., who have not worked with them. So in today's video, what I want is, I just want you people to give you an overview that what is object oriented programming, what are the important concepts of object oriented programming, like what are objects, what are classes, what is the self keyword, what is the init function. Fine. So in this video, I just want to give you an overview so that you will get a clear idea that why Python is known as object oriented language and what actually object oriented programming concepts are, what actually OOPS concepts are. Fine. So that in our next videos we can see different examples of Python where we are directly going to use the OOPS concept, like we are going to see inheritance, we are going to see various math functions and all. So in today's video, I just want to give you an overview with the help of example, of course. Okay. So before starting, if you are new to this series, if you are watching this video for the first time in this series, then I would recommend that you can go to the description section. There is a link available. You can visit our previous Python videos in which we have already discussed the basic important concepts of Python in great detail. You can watch those videos and you will get a clear idea. So let's start today's video. So as I told, today we are going to discuss about Python classes and objects. Fine. So basically, what is Python? Python is a programming language, no doubt, but Python is an object-oriented programming language. Fine. Almost everything in Python is an object with its properties and methods. Fine. So until now, what we have just seen the basic concepts of Python, but mainly in Python, everything is consisting of objects and classes. So what are objects, what are classes, we are going to see here with the help of example. In simple words, you can understand that a class is an object constructor. Fine. Or you can say that class are nothing but they are the blueprint for creating objects. That means what? Ultimately, we are going to create class. In the very first line, we are going to create the class in Python, and then related with the class, or like we can say that with the help of the class we are going to create the objects, and all the objects can have their own functions, their own properties and methods. Fine. So that is all about classes and objects. So let's directly see that what is class or how you can define the class. So in Python you can define the class with the help of class keyword. So first of all we will be having the keyword class, and then you have to write the name of your class. So let's say the name of my class will be my class. You can give any name to your class. Fine. So class, we have made a class of the name my class. Simple as that. And at the end of this, first of all class keyword and then the name of your class. Then you have to write a colon here. Oh, alright? Okay. Now, inside class, you can define any variables as per your requirement. You can give the values to the variables. Fine. So, let's say I'm taking a variable I and I'm giving it the value of, let's say, 4. Right? You can give any value, you can give any variable name. So, what we have done here, this is our class keyword. This is the name of my class. That means this is the name of my class. So I can say that in this program I am having class named my class, and inside the class my class I am having one variable I whose value is 4. Simple, right? Now this is about class. Now what if I want to make object of this class? Because we have seen the main two things are class and the objects related to the class. So in the first line, what I have done, I have already made the class. Now if I want to make one object of that class, how I can make or how I can create an object? So let's say I want to create an object obj1. Fine. So this is the name of my object equal to, now I want this object to be created for the class my class. So I have to write it like this, parenthesis. So simply as soon as I am writing this, obj1 is equal to my class with a parenthesis. With the help of only this much line with the help of only this much code, what we have done, we have made an object of the class my class whose name is obj1. Simple. Now what happens that with the help of this obj1, I can access any variable of my actual class. For example, see, this I variable is the variable of the class my class. Now I can access it with the help of this object obj1. How? If I want to access it, I can access it like obj1 dot, see, as soon as I am writing dot, here suggestion, in the very first suggestion I am getting the variable I. So obj1 dot I will give me the value. So if I want to check it, I can simply write it inside print function that we normally do. Fine. So if I am printing obj1.i, let's see what it is returning us. It will return me the original value of I. See, it has printed 4, that is the value of this variable I in the class my class. So this much thing is important in order to have the basic idea that in this way you can create a class, you can create any variables inside your class, and then in this way you can make object of your class, you can create object of your class, and then you can access any variable of your class with the help of this object in this way, obj1.i. Fine, clear? So this is the basic thing. What is class, what is object, how you can access the variables using object. Fine. Okay. Now after that, what I wanted to show you is we are having something known as init function. What is init function actually? As the name itself indicates, init stands for initial, right? So, to understand the meaning of the classes, in order to understand how the class actually work, you have to understand what is the built-in init function. So, init function is what? See, underscore underscore init, and as we know it is a function, so like underscore underscore and then parenthesis will be there. This is how we are writing the init function. See, again, this is not a big dash, this is 2 underscores. Fine. So underscore underscore init underscore underscore. This is what? This is a inbuilt function of Python. We have already seen what are functions in Python. Fine, we have seen how we can create the user defined functions, how we can use them. But this init function it is not among one of those functions that we create. It is a default function of the Python. It is an inbuilt function of the Python. So why is it needed? This init function, the inbuilt function of Python, that is init function, it is always executed when the class is being initiated. That's why it is known as init, because initially it will be initiated whenever any class is being initiated. Along with that, this function will be executed, right? So we can use this init function to assign values to the object properties or any other operation that are necessary to do when the object is being created. Fine. So the very first thing you should know about this init function is that it will be executed when the class is being initiated. And the second thing is that why we are using this inbuilt function. So this inbuilt function can be used to assign values to the object properties or any other operation whenever the object is created. Fine. So these are the couple of important points regarding this init function. Actually, this init function is very important. Many questions are being asked on the basis of this in interviews or in exams also. So you should know what is init function. It is an inbuilt function of Python, and I've already told you why we are using init function. So let's see with the help of init function, with the help of a code, that how can this function be useful. So let's say I'm having a class named person. Fine. Now, as I've shown that after creating any class, we have to write colon. Now, in the next line, what I want to do is, I am writing the init function. Now, we have seen already in the video of function that whenever we want to define any function, we have to use def keyword. So, def keyword, def will be there, then space, then init. So, underscore underscore init, again underscore underscore, as I've shown you. Fine. And then okay, then we have to pass the parameters. Now, as you can see here, I have not typed anything, but self is already there. So self is one of the basic parameters that is passed by itself. So self parameter we will always be passing inside this init function. So let me tell you what is the self parameter. It is also very important. This self parameter, you can say that it is a reference to the current instance of the class, and it is basically used to access the variables that belong to the class. So whatever variables are belonging to the class, in my case, in my class person, so all the variables of the class person can be accessed using this self parameter. Fine. So this parameter is a reference to the current instance of the class, and this parameter is basically used to access the variables that belong to that class. Fine. So this is the main use of self. So what happens that whenever you will be defining this init function, one of the parameters will always be self, and then separated by comma, you can define your own parameters. For example, I am defining the parameters like name and age, let's say. Fine. So this is my definition of the init function that I've written. Now inside the function, what I want to do is, I just want to assign the name and age, like self.name equal to name, and similarly self.age equal to age. Right? Only this much. Now, in order to understand that how it is working or how this init function can help us, let's create one object of class person. So again, let me name it as obj1 is equal to, and how to create the object of the class person. So I have to write the class name here followed by parenthesis. Now in this case, we are having two parameters here, name and age. See, whenever this I am making the object of this person, what will happen? This init function will be executed whenever this class is initiated, right? So here in init function, I am having two parameters, name and age, two explicit parameters that I have written. So I have to pass the values here. So let me pass the name as, let's say, Parinita, and let's pass the age. Fine. Now what I want to do is, I have already passed the name and age. Now let's just print the values. So how I can access the value? With the help of my object. So my object name is obj1. So obj1 dot name, and similarly we can access the age with the help of obj1 dot age. Right? So let's run it. See, my both the values are being printed. So got it? What is this init function? How it is working? What actually this self is? And how we can access the values. So that's all. And see, apart from this is one of the way how you can do that. Apart from that, one more thing you can do is, see, this is the basic example where we have used init function, inbuilt init function. We've seen the self parameter, how it is working, what it is doing, and we have seen how we can access the values using our object. Fine. Now what we can do is, inside our class, apart from the init function, you can define your own another function also. So let's say here, apart from init function, I am having one more function, def, and we want our own function. So let's say my function, and I just want to pass self here. Fine, I don't want to pass any other parameter. Let's pass only self, and let's see that how we can access the value. Here, let's say I want to write that print my name is, and let's say I want to access this name. Whatever name is here, like here we have just passed the parameter name and age. So whatever value will be passed in this parameter, here I want to access that value. So how I can access that value? If I will write only name, only this name here, you will not get the name. So how you can get the name in this place? So for that, again you have to use your self keyword or self parameter. So here, instead of just name, I will write self dot name. Fine. So as soon as I will write self dot name here, I will be able to access this name that will be assigned here. Got it? And again here, simply I have to make the object, create object of that class, and instead of writing it like this, instead of, see, in our previous examples, what we have done, we have accessed this name with the help of our object. But here I just want to use my this function. So what I can do, instead of doing that, because print function is already inside this function, so I will simply call my function, my user defined function, to get the name. So here I will simply call this function with the help of my object. So obj1 dot my function. So I can simply call this function, and as soon as this function will be called, see how the flow will be. First of all, this object will be created for this person class, and we have passed these parameters. Those parameters will be passed there. Now after the creation of the object, with the help of object, we are calling this function, my function. Whenever it will go there, it will get that in the print we have written my name is and self dot name. So self dot name means already this Parinita is assigned here. So this name will be accessed here and will get output as my name is Parinita. We should get that output. So let's see by running it. Yes, see our output, we are getting my name is Parinita. Fine. So let's see this code. With the help of this code, you will get the whole idea about. So these are the basic things that I wanted to show you, that how we can define a class, what is a class, what is object, and how we can create a object that is associated with a class, and how we can define the init function, how we can define any other user defined function in the same class, and how we can access different variables inside the class, and how we can access them outside the class using object. So these are small things, but very important things that you should be knowing, so that in our next videos we will be seeing other advanced object oriented concepts like inheritance, we will be seeing polymorphism, we will be seeing different operations of math function and everything. So these are the basic things that I wanted you to understand, so that in our next videos you can understand those advanced concepts in a very easy way. So that's all for today. I hope you understood the whole thing. So we will meet tomorrow, or we will meet in the next session with some new topic, with some advanced topic. Till then, keep learning, keep practicing. Thank you so much.